Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast.
We're breaking down chapter 198 today, 15 minutes to 4:15 p.m.
And what a title! Oda is putting a clock on this whole situation, a literal doomsday clock.
It's a countdown to the destruction of the capital. It's not just a battle for a kingdom anymore. It's a race against time for the lives of everyone in the city.
Yeah, and for a minute there, it felt like the clock was going to run out. It felt completely hopeless. Vivi's on the ground, the war is kicking off, Crocodile is monologuing, and then you see it, a dot in the sky.
A falcon, which we know is an incredibly fast creature.
And on its back is the one person in the world who can punch a god-complex warlord in his sandy face. If the sight of Luffy returning doesn't make you want to follow this story forever, I don't know what will. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to tell everyone you know to get caught up. So if you've got a friend falling behind, share the pod and tell them the captain's back.
He certainly is. Let's get into it. The chapter opens right in the heart of that chaos.
Right back in the plaza, and it is an absolute mess. Koza just got shot. We ended last chapter on that cliffhanger, and Oda gives us no time to breathe. It just picks up right there. The stop is still echoing in the air, and he's on the ground.
And what's crucial is who reacts first. Not the rebels, not even Vivi. It's a royal army soldier. He immediately steps up, pointing his rifle at the shooter, asking why he shot a rebel leader. He thinks it's another royal soldier.
He's trying to do the right thing. This random, unnamed soldier in the middle of all this tension sees something that is objectively wrong. He sees one of his own guys shooting someone who was calling for peace, and he's like, "What are you doing? This isn't what we're here for." He's trying to hold on to the honor of the royal army.
It's a small moment of integrity in a sea of deception. This soldier represents the true heart of the kingdom, the people who genuinely believe they are protecting their home.
And that's what makes what happens next so tragic. He's about to expose the whole plot right then and there, but it's not one of his own. It's a Baroque works agent. And before that can even register, before he can shout infiltrator, Crocodile just raises a hand.
He doesn't even look. He's on the balcony, hundreds of feet away, and with a lazy flick of his wrist, he ends that chance for peace.
And boom, a wall of sand erupts between the two armies. Not a sandstorm that blows through, but a literal solid-looking wall that just shoots up from the ground. Total visual chaos. Nobody can see anything.
It's the perfect cover, a battlefield maneuver that's also a tool for assassination. In that confusion, more shots ring out. Now, Royal Army soldiers are falling, shot by rebels who aren't rebels.
And that's the reveal, the sheer tactical nightmare fuel of this plan. Baroque Works agents infiltrated both sides. I mean, we knew they were good at subterfuge, but this is next level. This is nation-breaking stuff.
It's a level of villainy we haven't seen before. Think back to our previous antagonists. Captain Kuro's plan was intricate, but it was for personal wealth. Arlong ruled through terror and bribery, but his goal was dominion over a specific territory. Don Krieg was just brute force.
Yeah, they were pirates trying to get treasure or power. This is different.
This is geopolitical destabilization. Crocodile isn't just trying to beat an army, he's trying to erase the very concept of a nation by turning its people against themselves so completely that they can never trust each other again.
It's not about helping one side win, it's about making sure they annihilate each other. The goal is mutual destruction. It's diabolical. Oda shows us exactly how you engineer a civil war that can't be stopped. You don't just light the fuse. You put agents on both sides to keep throwing fuel on the fire. You make reconciliation impossible.
Any chance for de-escalation is gone. Now every soldier on the Royal Army side thinks the rebels are firing from the dust, and every rebel thinks the royals are assassins who just executed their leader in cold blood.
And Koza is on the ground, bleeding out, screaming for them to stop. Vivi is screaming for them to stop. But their voices are just swallowed by the war drums, by the gunshots, by the screams of hundreds of thousands of angry, confused people.
Their pleas are meaningless now. Crocodile has successfully turned the entire square into an echo chamber of hatred. He's weaponized their grief and their patriotism against them.
It's just devastating to watch. All of Vivi's work, all of Koza's passion erased in a single moment by one sandstorm. It leaves them completely powerless. She spent 2 years uncovering this plot, and he dismantled her entire effort in 2 seconds.
And from the palace balcony, Miss All Sunday is watching all of this unfold.
Man, she is just something else. She's standing there next to Crocodile, looking down at Vivi, screaming her lungs out, and she just calmly praises her determination. It's not sarcastic, it's genuine.
She says, "What a determined young lady," but then adds that her voice can't reach them now. There's no malice in it, it's just an observation, like a historian noting a key event in the fall of an empire.
It's so cold. It's like she's watching a play. She's not rooting for the villain, she's just appreciating the tragedy of the performance. Crocodile is enjoying his victory. She seems to be studying it, studying Vivi, studying the chaos. It's way creepier.
It makes you wonder what her actual role in Baroque works is. She's not just a subordinate, she's an analyst. Her interest here doesn't seem to be in Crocodile's new kingdom. Her motives feel entirely separate from his, which makes her far more unpredictable.
Yeah, Crocodile wants to be king of the pirates. He wants power. We get that. Her, I have no idea what she wants, and that's terrifying.
While this is happening, Cobra, Vivi's dad, is just broken. He's a prisoner, forced to watch this nightmare unfold. He tells her it's over, that she has to escape.
That's such a powerful moment. He's not a king in that moment. You see the crown and the royal robes, but his words are just a father's. He's a king who's lost his kingdom, and now he's just a dad trying to save his daughter. He's accepted defeat.
But Vivi refuses. She looks right at Crocodile. The war may have started, but the day isn't over.
And this is such a classic Straw Hat Crew moment, even if she's not officially on the ship right now. She says there are still lives she can save. The bomb.
The clock tower is set to explode in 15 minutes, wiping out everyone in the plaza, rebel and royal soldier alike.
She's not giving up. Even with the war started, even with her voice drowned out, she finds the one objective she can still complete. Stop the bomb, save the people in the square, even if she can't save the country's soul right now. It reminds me of Luffy. When everything goes wrong, he just simplifies the problem. Who do I need to punch? For Vivi, it's what can I save?
She's choosing to save lives over saving a political ideal. It's a pragmatic, desperate, and incredibly brave decision. She has compartmentalized the tragedy of the war starting and focused on the next, most immediate crisis. That's the mentality of a true leader.
She walks right up to the warlord who orchestrated all this and basically tells him, "You haven't won yet." The guts on her are just unreal. She has no weapon, no backup, no leverage, and she just stares him down.
Crocodile does not react well to that. He's been enjoying his victory, and here's this girl, his defeated foe, telling him it's not over. It insults his sense of finality. He grabs her by the throat.
It's such a display of casual, terrifying power. He doesn't even strain. He doesn't stand up. He just sits in his chair, reaches out, and lifts her up with one hand. It's meant to show her how insignificant she is to him.
And then he gives his speech. He mocks her. He calls what she has idealism.
And he says that idealism can only be realized by people with the power to back it up. He's just spelling out his entire worldview. Might makes right. If you're not strong enough to enforce your justice, then it's just a childish dream.
It's a chillingly effective villain monologue, because in that moment, he's not wrong. From his perspective, the evidence is all around them. He does have the power, and her ideals are failing. He's essentially telling her that morality is a luxury of the strong.
But that's the whole point of Luffy, right? His ideal, being the freest man on the sea, is his power. It's what draws people to him. It's an intangible strength that Crocodile, who only thinks in terms of military might and devious plans, could never understand. Crocodile sees power as a tool to achieve a goal. For Luffy, the goal and the power are the same thing.
Crocodile then twists the knife. He criticizes her strategy, not just her ideals.
This part was brutal. I mean, truly, genuinely cruel. He asks why she didn't just tell the rebel army about the bomb. Why didn't she just shout from the rooftops, "There's a bomb that's going to kill you all"?
He points out that yes, it would have caused a mass panic, people would have been trampled, it would have been chaos, but thousands, maybe a few thousand, would have fled the square and survived the blast.
And he's got a point. It's this awful trolley problem. Vivi tried to have the perfect solution, stop the war and save everyone without a single casualty from a panic. But in doing so, she might have doomed them all. Crocodile is a master of psychological warfare.
He is telling her that by trying to be a perfect hero, she failed to be an effective one. It's a cruel but very sharp critique of her decisions. He's attacking the very core of her character, her desire to protect everyone. He's making her responsible for the very disaster he created.
It shows how smart he is. He's not just a monster with a cool power. He understands strategies, psychology, and people's weaknesses. He's not just trying to kill her. He's trying to make her die in despair. He's attacking her spirit, not just her body.
He even praises her for her 2 years of spying on his organization. He acknowledges her effort, her infiltration, her dedication.
Which makes the final line even worse. He basically says, you did a great job. You worked so hard, and it all amounted to absolutely nothing. You cannot save this country. It's the ultimate condescension. He's patting her on the head as he destroys everything she ever loved.
And then he just lets go. He drops her off the palace wall.
He just drops her from hundreds of feet in the air. It's meant to be the final punctuation on his victory speech. The princess falls, the kingdom is his. He doesn't even grant her the dignity of a fight.
The ultimate act of dismissive cruelty. She's not even worth killing himself. He just lets gravity do it. It's a profound statement of his perceived superiority.
And you see her falling, and for a second you really think, is this it for her? Is this how it ends for her? After everything, after Little Garden, Drum Island, after all that growth and pain, is she just going to be a splat on the pavement? It's a genuinely terrifying panel.
But then, Crocodile's head snaps up. He hears something, or sees something. His monologue is interrupted, and he hates it.
A shape in the sky, moving fast. The paneling here is perfect. You just see his eyes shift.
At first, it's just a bird, a very large one. We know it's Pell, the guardian of Alabasta. He's one of the strongest fighters in the kingdom, so even his arrival isn't a guarantee of victory.
But there's someone on his back, and Crocodile's eyes go wide. That iconic shot of his scarred face looking up in disbelief.
He knows. Before we even get a clear look, Crocodile knows who it is. The silhouette is unmistakable to him. He recognizes the sheer, stubborn refusal to die.
And then we see him. Straw hat, red vest, scar under his eye. It's Luffy. He survived the hook. He survived being buried alive in the desert. He's back.
It's been 18 chapters. That's the longest we have ever gone in this story without seeing Monkey D. Luffy.
18 chapters. Oda made us feel his absence. He made us feel the hopelessness of the crew trying to fight this war without their captain. Sanji is missing. Zoro is fighting Mr. One. Usopp and Chopper are in a losing battle. The whole crew is scattered and struggling. Oda let the dread build and build and build until you almost forgot Luffy was even a factor anymore.
It's an incredible structural choice. He removes the story's usual safety net. We're so used to Luffy showing up at the last minute to save the day, but Oda withheld that for so long that his return feels genuinely shocking. It feels earned. It's not just a given. It's a miracle.
And Luffy isn't smiling. He's not goofing around. He is furious. His face is pure, focused rage. He just screams Crocodile's name.
The look on Crocodile's face is perfect. It's not fear. It's pure, undiluted annoyance. He says, "You again?" Like Luffy is just a pest he can't get rid of, a cockroach that survived the fumigation.
He's so arrogant he can't even register Luffy as a real threat. He's just an inconvenience that's messing up his perfect, triumphant moment. Meanwhile, you see Vivi's face as Pell swoops in to catch her, and it's just total, overwhelming relief. Tears are streaming from her eyes, but it's a look of pure, unadulterated hope.
Her hope has returned, and it's riding a giant falcon. The entire emotional tone of the arc shifts on this one page. We have gone from the absolute depths of despair to the peak of heroic excitement.
Super! That's the moment. That's the payoff for all the tension of the last dozen chapters. The captain is back on the field and the game has completely changed.
You can almost feel Oda's own energy in this return, too. He left a note for the chapter saying he just moved into a new, spacious place. You feel that refreshing energy in this final reveal. It feels like a new beginning.
A new space for him and a new hope for Alabasta. The board is reset. Crocodile may have every piece in place, but Luffy has just flipped the entire table over. Okay, that ending has me fired up. If you're feeling that same hype, let us know what you thought the best moment of the return was in the comments. Was it Crocodile's reaction, Vivi's relief, or just seeing that Straw Hat again?
Let's get to predictions for 199. What do you think happens the second the chapter opens?
My first thought, round 3, immediately. There's no more talking. Luffy is going to launch himself off Pell and go straight for Crocodile. I also think he's bringing something new to the table. He has to have a plan for how to actually hit the guy this time. He got dehydrated and buried in sand, so maybe he's figured out the water weakness. I picture him with that giant barrel of water he was carrying. Maybe he has a water bottle, I don't know, but he's not going in blind again.
That seems likely. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result. Luffy is not insane. He just needs to get beaten up a couple of times to learn. What else?
Pell's not just a taxi service. Now that Vivi's safe, he's the fastest person in Alabasta. I predict Vivi tells him about the bomb and he immediately flies off to the clock tower to disarm it. He's the only one who can cross the city with a full-scale war in the streets, in time. It'll be a race against that 15-minute clock.
That's a good use of his abilities. I agree. Okay, my first prediction is about Miss All Sunday. I think she does absolutely nothing. She is going to stand on that balcony and watch Luffy fight Crocodile with the same detached curiosity she has this whole time. Her goal is not the same as Crocodile's, and I think she's more interested in seeing who wins this clash of wills. Crocodile's meticulous planning versus Luffy's sheer indomitable spirit. She's gathering data.
I could totally see that. She's a wild card, just standing there with a little smile watching the chaos.
Second, Crocodile's arrogance is going to be his downfall. He's going to dismiss Luffy, just like he did before. He'll think that because he beat him easily twice, the third time will be the same. He'll rely on his Logia intangibility, on his hook, on the same tricks. He won't adapt his strategy, but Luffy will have. He'll underestimate him, and it will cost him.
Classic villain mistake. Pride comes before the fall, and this guy's pride is bigger than a sea king. Love it. What's your last one?
King Cobra. He's been a captive this whole time, a symbol of the kingdom's defeat. But he's not a feeble old man. I think he's going to use the chaos of Luffy's arrival to do something. Luffy's fight will be a massive distraction. Cobra might try to reach the royal guards who aren't Baroque Works agents, or find a way to communicate a message to the people, or even just create a small disruption inside the palace to help Vivi and the others. He's not going to be a bystander anymore. The return of hope will galvanize him back into action.
Oh, the King's Gambit. I like that. A king fighting for his own country again. Taking that one last chance. That's a solid set of predictions.
We'll see who's right next week.
Until then, for Inherited Dawn, I'm Franky.
And I'm Robin.
Join the crew.